Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys a Walking Dead review, and I know it's been a while since I've done a Walking Dead review, because the last one I did was Season 9, Episode 9, and obviously that would be the case because I do these chronologically, and if you look on the title, which is down below, this is Season 9, Episode 10, and I actually had to check ahead of time to see if I already did the video, because I've actually seen this episode, but never got around to doing the review, but yeah, I checked my video manager on my channel and I haven't done the video, so you know, I'm kind of glad because I would be doing this review for nothing. But yeah, I remember too in Season 9 Episode 9 I said that I would try to watch the show every Sunday, you know, when it aired, and then I would try to do the review like right afterwards, so that way I would just have it done. Well, that didn't exactly go according to plan because yeah, we're pretty much here now, and I haven't even watched a single episode after Episode 9 when I said I would do that, which I guess it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I'll basically tell you the reason why I'm doing these videos now versus, you know, when I was supposed to be doing them. Well, pretty much what happened was, like I said, I watched this episode already. But I never got around to doing the video because I watched this episode late because I was doing something on that Sunday, but I watched it like later on in the week. And I think I was studying for like a test, so I had to kind of focus on doing that, so I never did the video. But then I was going to skim through the episode and end up doing the review right afterwards, but then me and my cousin started doing videos again, and we started reviewing shows like Breaking Bad and Death Note, so I kind of got into more of those shows and wanted to just finish those up. So that's basically what happened there. But in between that, I also had, like, you know, school to finish up. I had to do, like, a paper that was, like, you know, 10 paragraphs and 10 sources, so that took up some time, and then I had to study for other tests and do other projects, so I couldn't really do the videos. But I think the other main reason was just because I was kind of boycotting it a little bit, because there's certain scenes in this episode that I think Cole should have been a part of, and I'll probably talk about it maybe when it gets to those scenes. So I just kind of was like, yeah, this kind of sucks, because I really, like, I'm kind of was mad, randomly got mad at the show because they killed Cole off. I'm still mad at Walking Dead for that, so I kind of just, you know, took a few weeks off and just kind of waited, so that's basically what happened there. But now that I've kind of, you know, taken the time off watching this show, I'm going to come back and watch it now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically binge watch it these next couple of days and get the reviews up, because I want to do this because I want to watch Fear when it comes back, and obviously I want to watch Walking Dead before then, and I'm doing it because, like, Talking Dead I don't have recorded on my DVR, but it's on the website, and I have to basically finish it this week or I won't be able to ever watch it because it's on AMC.com. So yeah, basically that's kind of why I'm doing all this now. But yeah, let's actually get into the episode itself. How I'll break down this review too is I'll do an introduction each time, and then I'll watch the episode, review that, then I'll watch Talking Dead and review that. The Talking Dead review portion of this shouldn't take as long. Like, the longest one was like when Rick got killed off, but that was like 10 minutes, so that shouldn't take too long. But yeah, let's get into this review. So this episode is, like I said, Season 9, Episode 10, and this episode is called Omega, and it came out on February 17th, 2019. And yeah, really nothing significant I guess I can really talk about going into it, so there's that. I forgot to mention one thing too. After I give like my thoughts on it, I'm gonna kind of go on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and see how they kind of rated it and talk about that a little bit as well. So now that I've kind of gone into that, let's get right into the video episode now. Okay, so now on to the episode itself. And then I just want to mention, for those of you that haven't seen my Walking Dead reviews, when I review the episodes, I don't do it scene by scene. I kind of do it storyline by storyline, and it depends on what I find is the most important storyline. The most important thing that took place in this episode was, like, Lydia's backstory and everything. That was kind of the main focus of the episode. The Tara, you know, Magna stuff was pretty important too, but, you know, they really showcased and highlighted Lydia more, which made sense because this was the first time we were gonna see her, and this is like this is them kind of really build into the Whisperers world, so it makes sense to kind of really showcase Lydia. I know we kind of got like a bit of a showcase with her last time, but this was kind of more of a case where we actually got her backstory and stuff like that, and got to kind of find out what she's like as a character. So I kind of like that. But yeah, I'll start with the Taylor stuff first. And like I said, it is going to be storyline by storyline, but some of it I won't reveal all at once because what happens at the end of the Taylor storyline part of it ties into the end of the episode, so I'll just wait to talk about it till the end. So let's start off by talking about it though. So Taylor, Yumiko, Magna, Connie, and Kelly are all out looking for Alden and Luke because they haven't come back in a bit. It's probably been like a day because it takes a day to travel from Horse to look out. So yeah, they pretty much get worried that they don't come back, so they go out to look for them, and they actually see walkers out. But what I really like about the Whisperers storyline, because this has been like a typical criticism, is the walkers in the latest seasons of Walking Dead haven't really been seen as much of a threat. They've usually been fighting like a big group or a big villain or something like that, and the walkers would they would kill them and stuff, but they'd mainly just be target practice. They really wouldn't do anything with them. But what I like about the Whisperer storyline is, and Taylor and stuff put this out, is now you don't really know if it's really a walker or one of the Whisperers. It could be a person or what. So I really like that. It makes the walkers now more intimidating. And we find out that they actually are walkers, and they all kill them. Magna uses throwing knives to kill them, and Connie uses a slingshot, and Yumiko uses a bow and arrow and things like that. And yeah, they find out that the horses they were using were Alden's and Luke's, and we see that the horses had been skinned and cut open, so that means someone purposefully did this. So Magna's group wants to keep looking for Luke and stuff, but Taylor doesn't think it's a good idea just because they don't know the threat that they have that's out there. And I guess, like, even though I don't like Taylor much as a character, I kind of like that she's now transitioned into a leader role, I guess, because she's technically the leader of the Hilltop, which she kind of already was, but now it's official. So she's kind of got to make all the decisions now, and she's, kind of doesn't really know what to do. So Taylor says that we have to go back and kind of talk about it because they basically found out that Lydia kind of lied about the fact that there was, just her mom out there when they see like all these other people have like skinned and cut at a horse. So they want to kind of take back refuge at Hilltop and kind of decide a better strategy. So later on in the episode, Yumiko and Connie aren't happy about this decision, and they want to go back out and look for Luke. And Magna doesn't want to because she doesn't want to squander the opportunity to stay at the Hilltop because she felt like she kind of did that when she went to stay at Alexandria. But they all convince her because Luke and his family and stuff, and she was basically outvoted. So they sneak out, and one good thing in a way about Connie being deaf is if you're outside in the woods and stuff, you can kind of just communicate through sign language, so the walkers have less of a chance of killing you. So that's, I guess, a good thing. You're able to be quieter easier, and and we get to find out a little bit about their backstory, how they belong to another community, and they voted to leave, and they got outvoted or something like that, and which kind of explains why we just saw them running away, at the end of episode 5. And then pretty much they don't really know which way to go to find Luke, and Connie nearly gets killed, so Yumiko Magna kills a walker that was about to kill them, so they basically realized this is too dangerous, and they didn't really plan this out. So they decide to go back to the hilltop and come up with a better plan. And Connie doesn't want to leave because it was pretty much Luke that saved her life back in episode 5, and she doesn't want to leave Luke out here because Luke didn't leave him, which I like. It kind of builds storyline and shows that Luke and Connie have a relationship with each other. So Luke and Kelly, not Connie. So Connie and Kelly stay out, and Magna and Yumiko go back to the hilltop, and I'll kind of end it there. But I really liked everything they did with the Magna storyline. You got to kind of find out more about that group. And it was kind of like, the early stages of Taylor being the leader. Still don't like Taylor as a character. She's still pretty stale. But, yeah, I thought this was all good. But then we had everything that kind of took place with Lydia in this episode. And we see Lydia. We see like a flashback of her. Then this was kind of like 23 days after the zombie apocalypse broke out. So they basically went back to, season 1 of Walking Dead time frame. And we see that they had been, in the, in like some type of, camp for like 23 days. And they had like boarded up the rooms and stuff, the place and stuff like that. And, we see her, Lydia's father, who is meant to be seen as someone who's kind of abusive in a way, and he kind of just does everything himself. He cuts his beard off because he doesn't want to do anything that his wife tells him, who's Lydia's mother, and Lydia's mother is very sweet, loving towards her. They play checkers together, and Lydia still doesn't believes in the real world. Asks about going Halloween, what to wear for Halloween costume and everything, and her father just says every day's Halloween around here. So he wants to leave and go get supplies and stuff, but he just wants to leave the place entirely. But Lydia's mother convinces her not to do so otherwise, basically tries to convince her to convince him to stay because you don't care about the safety of my daughter, and this kind of strikes a chord with Lydia's father. So that was that. I really liked this. It kind of showed Lydia's backstory, what we thought her father and her parents had been like. We saw that her mom's like this big, kind-loving woman, and her dad is kind of like a bit abusive and stuff like that. But then we see, they kind of talk about that. We see Lydia's telling Henry all this stuff in the jail cell, and everything that we see Henry's talking to her, and they're kind of starting to build like some type of relationship with each other. And we see that Dale has been listening in on their conversations, and I really like this because this kind of shows that Dale is smart, because if he has Henry kind of talk to them, we'll get to see it will get she will tell her information that Henry will want to know and stuff like that. So I think it's very smart for Dale to do this. And Henry does some talking as well. He tells her a little bit about himself. We find out how Henry was found. We found out that Ken Ezekiel found him, which we kind of already knew that, and we kind of found out that they were sick. So you could kind of see that because the kingdom helped Henry and his family, he wants to do the same to Lydia and help her. And he's telling her about the kingdom because he's telling her about Ken Ezekiel and Carol and stuff like that. And this is kind of is when Dale lets Henry go because he gets pissed pretty much that he's telling her about the kingdom when she could tell the Whisperers to go over to the kingdom, because he gives her the directions of where it is pretty much and stuff like that. And Henry gets upset when he was listening in, and he says, if you want answers, go get them yourself. And then you have the confrontation between Dale and Lydia, which I really like this as well. You can kind of see that like Lydia and Dale really connect with each other because they both have a similar past. You have Lydia, who was abused, but you also have Dale, who we know in the history has been abused by his father and stuff like that. So you can kind of see that they really have some type of connection with each other. And Lydia tells about the story when one of the people in the and this is back towards the flashback now. One of the people, in the community, in the campground and stuff where Lydia and stuff was staying in the past, was having a panic attack and wanted to escape, and everybody was trying to calm him down and stuff like that, just because there was people out there shooting and stuff, and they didn't want to get hurt. So Lydia's mother covers his mouth and kills him pretty much, and we see that Lydia's mother has like a crazy look on her face, saying, saying that you're not gonna put me and my daughter in danger and stuff. And I like that, and Daryl kind of sympathizes with her, saying that she was just doing what she thought was necessary to save her family and stuff like that. But we find out that there was more to it than that. Then we see later on in the episode, I'm probably jumping ahead, but I don't really care, that the guy dies and he's gonna turn into a walker at some point. So they're trying to decide what to do with him, and this is kind of like when Dale kind of starts to make the connection, because Lydia's been telling the story about how her father was abusive, but Dale kind of finds that sketchy, because Lydia's telling all this story, these stories and stuff like that, and she says that that her father used to sing this song called Lydia. If you can easily probably look it up on YouTube. It's that Lydia song that they always sing. It sings at like the end of Breaking Bad on Todd's like cell phone. It's basically the same thing, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like that Breaking Bad, Walking Dead thing, and I bet that like even brought those conspiracy theories now even more, where people think that like Breaking Bad and Walking Dead are in the same universe just because the same song just happens to be sung. It doesn't. I know that people are crazy like that. But yeah, what makes Daryl suspicious is that typically a father would like the child to be scared of him. So then Lydia tells the story again to Daryl about how when in the middle of the night, and they were trying to decide what to do about the person that died, because he's going to reanimate and become a walker. So in the middle of the night, Lydia goes to kind of see, because they got him covered up in a blanket, what he looks like and stuff, and he finally reanimates, and he's about to get attacked, but her father saves her, and he ends up getting bit by the walker. And Lydia always has blamed herself for this, saying that she should have been the one to die, because if it wasn't for her father wouldn't have had to jump in and save her, and she calls her father weak and stuff like that. And throughout this episode, we see Lydia kind of telling them that a place like the Hilltop and the Kingdom aren't meant to survive. You guys are kind of living in the past. You guys have to adapt with the times and live with the walkers and dress like them, because they're the ones that are taking over the world. So I really like that part of it as well. So Daryl walks off later on, and Daryl pretty much says that there's really nothing more that Lydia can be, so he's going to let the decision come whether she can live or die at the hands of Taylor. But Henry tells him that he's the only one that can really bring her back to reality. And he tells the story about Carol, how she would always cut her hair short, so that way, when her ex-husband wouldn't be able to beat her anymore, because her hair would be really short, because that's how he would beat her. He would like pull on her hair and stuff like that. And it took her a while to finally trust somebody again. And obviously, because Carol has her hair long now, that means she trusts Ken Ezekiel. So I really like that part of it as well. Kind of showing that, Carol has finally changed as a character and evolved and can trust somebody again to keep her hair long. So I really like that. So later on in the episode, Henry lets Lydia out of her cell, and he's gonna let us see the hilltop. So they go to walk around, but they trip. And I actually really like this part. Lydia ends up eating a worm. And Henry does it as well. Kind of like a nice romantic moment. I mean, it's the nicest romantic moment you're going to get in a zombie apocalyptic show, is people eating worms together. It was pretty cool, and I really like kind of Henry's reaction when he just went, "Oh, I just ate a worm," which is like, "You did," because I like that part of it. And then when Lydia kind of sees all this stuff, she kind of like can't believe it. Like, she has lived for so long believing that a place like this couldn't be real. And when she sees it, she's like in disbelief about it. But we see as this is happening, like she's behind her, she's gonna grab like a hammer, like as if she's gonna take Henry out. But then she kind of sees this, and it kind of takes her back a little bit. So she kind of starts having like a little bit of flashbacks of what we see is what really was going on, because we find out that the past that we've been seeing is the past that Lydia's mom had been telling her all this time. But we find out it was actually reversed. We find out that it was really Lydia's mom doing the abusing. I mean, we kind of knew that anyways, because she was telling Daryl that, and she was wondering why a mom would do that to a kid, and Lydia saying that there was reasons for it, but Daryl wasn't just having any of it. So Lydia's kind of having like a bit of a PTSD attack, and demands to be put back in her cell, and she wants Henry to stay with her for the night. So that's exactly what happens. And then we see the next day, Lydia tells Daryl everything pretty much, and we actually see another flashback where we find out that it was really her mom doing the abuse, and we see that her head's all shaved now and stuff, and we find out that it was actually reversed. Lydia's mom was just going to make the escape, but her dad tried to convince her otherwise, saying that, you know, you can go by yourself, but me and Lydia are going to stay here. So this doesn't make her mom happy. So what ends up happening is her father like walks into like the next part of the camp, and he ends up tripping, and he hits the wall, and it's implied that her mom killed him. But we basically know that's what happened. They don't show it though, which I kind of like that they didn't, kind of use the imagination. But Lydia tells us that's what happened, and we find out more about the Whisperers, how they don't stay in one area very long. They'll camp for a certain area, and then they'll just kind of move on, which is very small, because if like an enemy goes to find them, they can't find them at that moment. And they basically, Lydia was trying to ask everything about Henry's past and everything, so that way like her mom would have a reason to take her back, which Henry kind of thinks is messed up, because it's her daughter, she should want to take her back regardless. And you can kind of see now that Lydia's building a trust with this hilltop, so or with the hilltop community, so they're considering letting her stay, but it's basically up to Taylor. And Daryl also kind of sympathizes with her. Like, Henry even asks, like, why would someone do this? And Daryl says some people aren't meant to be parents. And I kind of like this, because Daryl can kind of sympathize with Lydia, because he went through the same thing as a kid, so it makes sense. But then later on in the episode, back to the Taylor storyline, Yumiko and Magna come back, and they see that Taylor, and when they see Taylor's standing guard, Yumiko goes to explain herself, apologizes for going out on their own, but they just had to know. And Taylor says that, and we find out that Taylor actually knew that she left because her guards caught him. So the guards went out to get Kelly and Connie, so that way they wouldn't die. And Taylor says, like, next time you have a problem with one of my decisions, come talk to me about it, because I'm kind of just learning on the fly, just like everybody else is. And then we see the Whisperers actually start to come over. We see like a group of people dressed up in Walker's skin, and everybody sees this, and Connie gets worried that her sister. Actually, no, Kelly gets worried that her sister's gonna get attacked, but the Hilltop Scouts are holding her back because they don't want her to die too, and Connie runs into a cornfield, and the Whispers show up, and we meet the leader, who I think is the leader. I don't really know. But basically Lydia's mother. We find out her name is Alpha, and they came for one thing, her daughter. And then the episode just fades to black and goes off the air. And that was basically the episode. I thought it was a good episode, not like a great episode or anything like that, but I thought it was a nice way to kind of give us a backstory behind Lydia. And I really like that we got some backstory behind Magnus Group, and kind of even Alpha now too. We get to kind of see what she was like back then, and how abusive she was to her daughter and stuff. And we got to kind of see like how the Whispers kind of started to kind of form in a way. So I really like this. I thought it was a good episode. I'm gonna give it a B-, and that's basically it. Now I'm gonna watch Talking Dead, and then have my review up of that. And maybe if Talking Dead typically is good, it could win up Walking Dead's grade, but we'll see. Okay, so now on to Talking Dead, which was hosted by Chris Hardwick, and the special guests were Eleanor Matsuura, best known as Yumiko, Nydia Hiker, best known as Magna, and Gail Ann Hurd, best known, she that's actually her name. She's a producer though on the show. And yeah, Talking Dead was good. Mainly it was kind of talking about Eleanor Matsuura and Nydia's like transition into becoming part of the show, and they kind of talked about that mostly throughout the show. But they did interviews with Norman Reedus and I believe her name is Angel Theory. I'm just gonna make sure that's Angel Theory. Angel Theory's interviews were very interesting, because actually when I watch some of her scenes, I always think that she's not like the best actor at it, but I didn't realize that she's actually deaf, and she takes her hearing aids out doing casting. So for someone that does that, then she does actually a pretty good job at it. They actually talked about the scene when Lydia called out Dale for pretty much kind of being not like everybody else, and how he was kind of off in the woods by himself. And I actually forgot to talk about that scene, and that's also something I liked about this episode, was the scenes between Dale and Lydia. And they showed like a sneak peek of episode 11, and then they did a sneak peek of Norman Reedus' shows, riding with Norman Reedus, where he's going to have a special guest, Stephen Young, best known as Glenn. So that was pretty cool. And it's kind of interesting to see like how they were talking about how, he was 25 when he started on the show, and how they became friends when they weren't meant to be. So that was pretty cool. And they just kind of, and some fan asked a question like, what if the Whispers had found Magnus Group, which is actually a pretty good question, because that would actually completely change how the show is. Because Magnus Group probably would be with the Whispers, and I have a feeling a lot of people were like thinking something was up with Magnus Group and it was going to be the Whispers, but that wasn't the case. So yeah, so a nice Talking Dead episode, and that's pretty much that. My letter grade is still a B-. I think it's a good episode, and very nice setup episode, very nice backstory episode to kind of get into Lydia's character. And the ending really makes it, just setting up episode 11. And for the people that rated it, the people on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 79%. An average rating, I got a 7.15 out of 10. And there were 19 reviews, and out of 19 of them, 15 gave it fresh, and 4 reviewers gave it rotten. People liked it though. They kind of thought, it was a filler episode, but they liked the way they built Lydia's character up and things like that. And people on IMDb gave it an 8.1 and really liked how storytelling was brought back in Walking Dead. So there's that, and that's pretty much the end of the Talking Dead review. And that's pretty much the end of this video. I can't believe this video took me so long to do. I wanted to have this done in an hour and a half, and it took me like over 3, so that was pretty annoying. But Other than that, thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for more content and click on the bell. So that way every time we upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.